What is up, I Like Scary? We are back with another Terrifier 4 video. Before we get into it, definitely smash the like button because it definitely helps, and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. So today I want to talk about what could potentially happen in Terrifier 4, starting off with just Art the Clown being mortal again, so being a regular human again. We see at the end of Terrifier 3 where Sienna actually sticks this sword inside of Art the Clown, and he begins to, change. He almost looks like he's lifeless. He almost looks like, he's losing his powers and he's going back to being human again. Think about this, you all. We never seen Art the Clown run away. We never seen him just pull away from any victim. He pulled away from Sienna. He could have simply pushed her in the pit of hell with Gabby and got them both out the way. But he didn't. He ended up leaving and ended up waiting on a bus, some specific bus, to take him to a specific destination. I think what happened was that either two things: he almost became mortal again, or he's mortal again. The reason I say that is because David, Howard Thornton, and Damien already brings up the fact that in Terrifier 1, Art the Clown was just a regular serial killer. He was just walking around as a regular human. He was just sinister and evil. And once he unalived himself, he ended up coming back to be supernatural, and he was immortal. So I think that we can see Art the Clown actually be back a human again in Terrifier 4 for some time, possibly, just possibly. The only thing that makes me think that we might not is because once he's on his bus and his woman's reading the Ninth Circle book, we see Art the Clown sitting across from her, and out of nowhere he wakes up, almost like he ends up getting some type of energy or fuel out of nowhere, and he honks his horn. I immediately think he has a new host, or a new host is in the works, or something happens, because at first he was down, he was walking with his bag, he just felt like not Art the Clown, he felt real lifeless. But out of nowhere he ends up honking his horn, maybe like he got a new host or something. Something happened different from him waiting on that bus. And I talked to you all in previous videos where I think this is just not a regular bus. I think this bus could potentially be taking Art the Clown to hell, either two places. If he's not going to hell, if this bus is not dropping him off at legit hell, like the stairs of hell, it's taking him back to his lair where he can go dormant for a while. Speaking of the dormant thing, maybe that's what he's going to have to do for a while, and we get another small time jump. One thing I do want to bring up is Sienna's father, Sienna and Jonathan's father. So we know from Terrifier 2 that he actually created these characters. He drew Sienna, he predicted them, he drew Art the Clown, he manifested them. It's almost like he knew that it was going to happen in a prophetic way, where he seemed to know that Art the Clown was going to come after his daughter and his son, so he wanted to prepare her to get in the shoes of Sienna Shaw, the warrior, or whatever. And I think that it's going to be something that it gets explained with that also, being that how did the father know what was going on with Sienna? How did he know what was going to happen with Art the Clown? And we remember that we found out how he died. He crashed into like a transformer or whatever, and they said towards the end of his time he was acting a little loony. So maybe a demon or something took advantage of him and it started kind of messing with his mental or something. Either way, I think that we're definitely going to get a lot explained about the father, because Damien's already talking about how our unanswered questions are going to get answered in Terrifier 4. We know that in the first 15 minutes that's Art the Clown's backstory will potentially be explained. What I think Damien means by backstory, I think that it's not going to be like the legit mythology of Art the Clown. I think that it's going to be like possibly who was his first kill, what did he do before he was like legit Art the Clown or something, what led to his first kill, and stuff with the pale girl. I think that we're going to definitely get a lot explained with the pale girl. Damien already has talked about him bringing a pale girl up in Terrifier 4 and showing how deep this character is connected. You got to think, the pale girl was the girl, Emily Crane. She was the one that got took out and they found her body and everything, and her parents were showgoers and stuff like that. So I guarantee you it's going to be something that's connected to Art the Clown. Maybe that was his like first murder. Maybe it's some type of connection with the parents. So with Damien saying that the pale girl is going to be involved in Terrifier 4 somehow, I think that, yeah, it's going to go deeper than we think when it comes to that situation with that newspaper that Jonathan pulled out. I think that's somehow going to domino into Art the Clown's life and kind of explain something with him and everything that was going on with Art the Clown. I also think that Sienna Shaw and Art the Clown are not just going to battle in hell, but they're going to battle in a specific part of hell, the ninth circle, meaning that the ninth circle is the worst part of hell. It burns different down there. It burns for a certain type of people down there. Hounds and beasts are down there. So especially with the woman on the bus actually in the ninth circle, and that being actually one of Damien's first projects, yes, they're going on to the ninth circle. I think it's going to be like that look where almost how the pit was. We kind of almost got like a sneak peek of hell when Gabby was about to fall into like this hole. It was red, and it was like red smoke and everything coming out, and I think it's going to look like that, but it's going to have like gates and rocks and stuff like that. And he's going to have a lot of like Easter eggs for the ninth circle down there, especially when it comes to the demons. I think that we're going to see Sienna actually go to hell. Like, she's going to find a way to get there. And I think that's why I'm saying the bus will be a perfect way to kind of make it seamless. You get on this bus that takes you through Miles County, and then it takes you through a dark part of Miles County, and then eventually it drops you off at the stairs of hell. And maybe it can be something also where Sienna can hear Gabby's voice, but she can't see her. It's because she can hear Gabby through hell. Like, so she's going about her day to day in Miles County, but she can hear Gabby calling for help. Maybe Sienna has more nightmares because, you know, she was having a lot of Terrifier 3. So I can only imagine she's going to have a ton of nightmares now. She's not going to have any family. She lost her aunt. She lost Jonathan. Gabby's in hell. So her mission is going to be to get her cousin back. Her cousin did fall with the sword. I think it's going to be a lot going on with Sienna also. Like us following her trying to figure out who is Art the Clown. Maybe it's something where she actually trying to figure out who's Art the Clown, a Miles County slasher. She looks into the backstory and she figures it out, and that's how we get the first 15 minutes explained. Maybe it's something with her father. Either way, I think the only thing that's going to be very interesting is to see the transition between Sienna being in Miles County and her actually going to hell. You know, how she's going to get there, what's going to be. And I think that's what Damien was talking about, where he feels that, you know, he's taking a risk, because it's almost like, how are you going to get her from reality to hell? So that's why I'm saying the bus will be a seamless transition, because the bus, at first I'm like, oh, it's a regular bus ride, but as I kept watching Terrifier 3, I'm like, nah, that bus it looks demonic. It's dark. It's one person on there. Phil Falcone is acting eerie as the bus driver. So I think that's how it's going to play out with Terrifier 4. I think that we're going to get the pale girl to return, and maybe she is the new host. I think that, because when I just now thought about it, I don't think Jonathan will be the new host. It's a potential possibility that he could be the new host. And Victoria's gone, but we never seen the pale girl die in Terrifier 2. She simply grabbed Art's head, looked at Sienna and Jonathan, and walked away. So maybe that's why Art the Clown hunks the horn on the bus, because now the pale girl is back activated. I mean, it would make sense. It would make sense. And now the pale girl's a little older, so she's grew a couple feet, and she's basically like the new Victoria. It'll make sense. So maybe that's it. Maybe the new host is the pale girl, because she never died. She the one who had the head. And I feel like the pale girl was actually powerful. She was actually being able to change her voice on the phone, and her eyes lighting up, and a lot of things. So I would like to see the pale girl return as the new host, and just be back by Art the Clown's side, especially if that comes out to be his daughter. I said that in a couple videos that I wouldn't be surprised if Art the Clown was actually the father of the pale girl, just because, you know, they said her parents were showgoers. Art the Clown, and it was a circus. Art the Clown looks like a mime. He has black and white face paint. Pale girl, you know, she has black and white face paint, but I know it can be a part of the entity and everything, and the demon. That's why they got the matching black and whites. But I don't think that's far-fetched to see that Art the Clown's the father of the pale girl. He just went loony, and that's what happened to Sienna and Jonathan's father. Well, he went loony. He could have potentially took out his daughter and his son, because the same entity that's in the father of Sienna and Jonathan is the same entity that's in Arthur Clown. So it was bouncing around, and that's how he knew what was going to happen with Arthur Clown and Sienna. He could predict the future because he knew what this entity was capable of. See what I'm saying? It makes sense. But yeah, you all, let me know down in the comments, how do you feel about this crazy Terrifier 4 theory? What do you think will happen in Terrifier 4? Let me know down in the comments. With that being said, I want y'all to hit me up on all my social medias at ILIKESCARY, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.